Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste. Hello, beautiful hearts. Oh my gosh, we're here talking with Judy Carroll. She is an author on extraterrestrial contact. This is going to expand your mind and actually reveal that disclosure is already happening. Hi, Judy. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for having me. It's going to be a wonderful interview. Looking forward to it.
Yes, this is really quite fascinating. You are the author of several books. One is Human by Day, Zeta by Night.
Yes.
That is amazing because this will really stretch our consciousness. And so you are here to demystify ET encounters, and yet you've
Absolutely.
been having them all your life. So in a
Yes.
nutshell, is it good? Is it bad? Is it scary? What's going on?
It's very confusing. That's probably the best thing to say, because there's two programs going on. There's a genuine program with the real ETs, and there's another program going on down here, which is known as the MILABs, military abductions. And what they're doing is trying to cause maximum fear of the genuine encounters, which are absolutely beautiful.
And so, okay, that is really significant. And so there's interference with our own government, interference to distract us, to is it to keep us safe? No, it's to keep us because they want power. And if we know the truth behind this, that's a lot of power. When you think of the power that would be out of their hands, let's start with that question because is that why the secrecy behind this? Because it would be game over, wouldn't it?
Yes, yes. Humans on Earth have been dumbed down for millennia, and through religion, through politics, etc. Like even reincarnation has been denied through religion, and an understanding of reincarnation is absolutely vital for our evolution. And what human evolution is about is the expansion and deepening of our conscious awareness. On planet Earth, Earth plane humanity only has access to about 10% of our potential conscious awareness. The rest of it is beyond us at this time. And our evolution is the opening up of more and more evolution, more consciousness. That's what human evolution is about. The Greys actually gave me a teaching many, many years ago on what they call a human ladder. And what that is 10 levels of awakening conscious awareness, and planet Earth's on level 1, which is why we can only access 10% of our potential awareness, which is intrinsically linked into the amount of DNA that we have active. What scientists down here call junk DNA is absolutely the opposite. It's multi-dimensional DNA that they can't measure with their limited instrumentation down here. So what I call them the planetary controllers who are behind religion and politics, they're like the shadow government, is trying to do is to stop us evolving and opening up any more consciousness, because the more conscious we become, the more we come to realize the fact that, hey, we're an immortal spiritual being just experiencing a lifetime in a physical, what the Greys call a container or a body. We're way, way more. Now, if we can access that multidimensional understanding of what we truly are, I mean, it's God essence within us. We all have God within. God's not out there. God essence is our consciousness. And so they don't want that to happen. And it's come to a point where the ETs now are really needing to open us up. I mean, one of the Greys once explained it that planet Earth is like, it's part of a river and it's been pushed into a stagnant pool and not allowed to evolve, Earth plane humanity. And this is affecting the whole universe because, I mean, we're all oneness. So if one part of the universe, no matter how small, is held back, it's affecting everything. So the ETs, and most specifically the Greys, that's their job to do this because they're energy workers, are coming here to help to wake us up. Now, why they're being specifically the ones to help is because a huge part of our lack of conscious awareness is our inability to see past the physical. So down here, if you haven't got what Earth humans consider physical beauty, you're often labelled as being bad or evil or negative. Now, the Greys really give us a test there because they certainly do look different. So that's why specifically they're the ones who are coming here, because this is the main lesson that humans have to learn: look past the physical, tap into the deeper energies.
You are so amazing, and what a bold journey it takes you to step up in this way. It must have been very courageous of you, right?
It was
So,
scary at first.
yeah, seriously. So before we get into the juiciness of your books, I mean, it's so amazing. What has it been like for you to step out? And so you've had lifelong contact with the Greys and the Zetas, right? And
Yes.
so um they're really supporting you then. Is that what
Oh,
gives you the courage? I mean, what was that like for you to step out and do this and have rocks thrown at you? Or maybe you didn't,
oh,
or maybe
it was huge, Lauren. When I came into this life, I came in with the choice of operating through a dual soul consciousness. So I'm linked to the Grey Collective and I'm linked to the Earth Human Collective. So I have conscious awareness of working up on the ship as a Grey and down here as a human. But what I did initially, when I came in as a child, I blocked my ET conscious awareness so that I was operating purely through my Earth Human awareness, so that on purpose I could experience the fear of ET contact. So all through my childhood, I was absolutely terrified. I knew someone was coming into the house to take me at night, and I was absolutely terrified. I'm ashamed to say I wouldn't go to bed on my own, sleep on my own, until I was about 11 years old. Mum used to have to sit with me. At age 15, I had a very interesting experience in that I sort of half awoke during the middle of the night with the body paralysis, and I could see the doorknob on the bedroom door turning, which absolutely freaked me out. I was trying to yell out, but of course, being paralysed, I couldn't hear, couldn't do it. And my parents were at the other side of the apartment, so they wouldn't have heard me. And the next thing then, I just blanked out. After that, it was obviously a contact experience, because after that, I started opening up to the fact that, hey, there's more going on here. And I became aware of a very, very ancient and wise teacher who was working with me, who turned out to be Maris, my Grey teacher, who I talk about in my books. He started giving me guidance back then, and it's gone on ever since. Very, very strong guidance. As I say to people, at age 30, I had a full-on daytime encounter with him and a couple of other Greys. I started coming down with what I felt like I was coming down with the flu in the afternoon. We had family over at the time. We were living on an acreage property. And I went upstairs to lie down just to relax for a while. And again, the paralysis and really bad headache, and this loud buzzing sound in my head. And anyway, the next moment, I must have got out of my body. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but this is what happened. And there were 3 Greys in the room, 2 of them standing to the left of my body, so solid they were blocking out the light coming in the window. It was in the middle of the afternoon. And the third one was my teacher. I immediately recognised them as family, so all fear just totally disappeared. They joked with me, as the Greys do. They tend to have a great sense of humour. And they said, okay, you've had enough time hiding yourself away out here in the country. It's time you got back to work. So I was told that I needed to move back to the city. We had a very, very long conversation, and they gave me a lot of advice. They told me that I needed to do a lot more study and that I would be teaching one day. And this study was to do with energy. Studying about the chakra system, etc. And I mean, I'd never heard of that at that stage, never even heard of it. So when they said I'd be teaching, it was like, oh my God, how can I do that? Don't worry, they said, don't worry, you'll get the opportunity to do the studies that you need. They said you need to learn to meditate, which I had I'd never meditated. I was a professional dancer, so I was very physically oriented. Tried it a couple of times, no success. So they advised me to take up Tai Chi, which this was 1983 in Australia, so nobody had ever heard of Tai Chi. So I said, well, what's that? And they said, it's like yoga, only there's more movement, and it's a moving meditation. So I was advised to take that up, best advice I'd ever been given. And I was also advised that I would be taking up like a natural healing modality, which in the end turned out to be Reiki. So over the next 3 years, all these amazing changes happened, one after the other. I had no say in it. It just all happened. We moved back to the city. There was a change in our family circumstances, so we moved back to town. Within about a week of being there, I found Tai Chi classes at a church hall around the corner. New people moved into a rental property next door, and one of them had been meditating for 10 years, and her teacher had just arrived in Queensland, and she was starting up a meditation group to which I was invited to join, never having meditated in my life. And it all basically took off from there.
Wow,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is pure synchronicity and
Ooh,
so beautiful. The fact that you are finding the grays humorous, that's so beautiful because we as humans on this planet, growing up with the movies and our society, are programmed to be fearful of grays.
yes, yes,
Even the ufology crowd, we are given information, misinformation, disinformation,
yes.
that the grays are something to be scared of. But your perspective here is so beautiful. So let's talk a little bit about this. So that grays, are they from the future?
Yes, some of them certainly are from the future. They are time travelers. So there was, and he just went straight for her throat. Of course, she started screaming. It was a child I was helping out. And the throat is actually a very important point on the body because so many of the meridians, the energy meridians, pass through the throat. So all he was doing, he was coming into place his hand.
With ETs, would you say, and how would one identify experiences? I mean, we can see things and not know,
and
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 they're
not
not
knowing it,
remembering.
not knowing it. Well, as I say, I went through years as a dual soul, and I didn't realize I was. I got a bit of a shock, when I realized I was. Yeah, but everyone who is having experiences generally has a slight interest in it. They'll want to check it out online or something. I always say that to people because they contact me and they'll say, "Oh, do you think I'm having experiences?" And I say, "Well, the fact you've contacted me tells me that you are."
Okay. Okay. So that we should really honor that within ourselves. And what
Yes.
do you say about the fear? The fear. How did you get over your own fear? You
Well,
you mentioned
basically,
fun. Yeah.
yeah, it was seeing them in the room that afternoon and immediately recognizing them. And when I
Immediate.
saw them, it was, oh, how stupid of me. Your family, of course I recognize you.
And you were 15 years old and you recognized them as family. Was it a love radiation? Was it a sense of love that you
Oh,
feel?
yes, yes. I
Of
had
love.
actually, yeah, going home, I'd actually had a meeting with my teacher the week before. And when up until that point, he used to actually show himself fully as a grey, but I knew he wasn't Earth human. I thought he was of the Devic kingdom because he just looked different. And I had a dream the week before of he and I standing beside a riverbank and he was talking to me and we were having a long, long conversation. And what I've come to realize is that often our teachers, our spiritual guides and teachers are actually higher parts of ourselves further up this human ladder that the Greys talk about. And I realized why I felt this incredible sense of oneness with him. It was like we were one. There was the sense of love is just beyond words. And so when he was there the following week, I knew who he was and I relaxed and was, that's who you are, of course. And what they were doing, they were actually, or what he was doing the week before when we stood and talked beside the riverbank, he was asking my permission, is it okay for more of my energy to come into your physical body to help to wake you up to the fact that you're working through a dual soul consciousness? But he had to ask my permission first. And of course, there was no question. Of course, I was happy for him to. And so when I had the experience being paralyzed on the bed and 3 greys in the room, he was actually inserting more of his consciousness into my body. And this was why I could feel something going on with my crown chakra and a headache and the loud buzzing, roaring sound because they were opening me up to the astral plane because that's, of course, the link between their higher reality and our physical reality. And he had to come in through the astral plane, through into my energy system. So that was what that was all about.
And the point of this is, I mean, it's mind-blowing, but the point of this is to evolve humanity, to assist in
Yes,
the evolvement of humanity.
yes, that's the absolute bottom line.
So, okay, the Zetas and the gray, are they one and the same? Are they a little bit
Yes,
different? They're one and the same.
yes, yes.
And
When
since,
I
yeah, go
when
ahead.
I use the term grey, all I'm doing is I'm differentiating that group of humans who came out evolved very, very originally out of insectoids. I'm comparing them to Earth humans who evolved originally out of primates. And so this is the only reason why I use the term grey, just to differentiate. But just like with Earth humans, there are many, many, many races on just this planet alone. And the greys are the same. The Zeta Reticulans are a grey group, but there are about 30 different races in the Zeta system. I think there are some in the Betelgeuse system. They're all over the universe. They're a very, very widely distributed group of humans.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Now, I've heard this from some other people. So your book, Human by Day, Zeta by Night, that's a
Yeah,
fictitious
that's it.
book.
I've got it here somewhere.
Yeah,
Hang on,
show us
just
that.
find it.
Now, it's
Oh.
beautiful because there it
That's
is.
it.
So this is a fictional book, but it's based on real experiences.
Yes, yes.
So how would one know if they're going on board or if they're Zeta by night? How would we know this? So when we sleep at night, do we all go on ships? How would we know?
Well, if we're working with the ETs, we do. Not everyone does. Some people, plenty of people also work with other ET groups. There's a whole lot of different ET groups working here. I specifically work with the Greys, but I've got Pleiadian friends, I've Lyran friends, we all work together up there. Some people will remember, some won't. I think generally when we can't remember, we've chosen not to because we don't feel that we can cope with it.
Okay. All right. So you did mention other ET civilizations, the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and all.
Yes, yes.
So then it comes to, so, here we are in this awakening of humanity. More and more people are awakening. And so stretching their mind like that, the I want to delve into this question about belief and how you realize that you're not going crazy. Do you know what I mean? Because some would say,
Yes.
how do I know I'm not just making it up? How do we know? How do we open ourselves to receive the information? How can we call on ETs, whatever civilization, to work more closely with them? Is there a protocol?
Well, a lot of people use hypnosis, hypnotherapy.
Mhm.
I've actually just been helping my publisher to publish a book by an author by the name of Joe Lills, who has been a regressive hypnotherapist for many, many years. He used to work with MUFON. So he's regressed hundreds of people. Dolores Cannon is another one who did a lot of regressions. I'm just reading her book at the moment, Keepers of the Garden. So that's a way of doing it because some people wake up spontaneously like I do, like I did, but not all. So if you suspect that it's going on and you want to be woken up and you just can't seem to do it yourself, try to find a good hypnotherapist, but someone who is qualified and knows what they're doing. Otherwise, they can do more damage.
Thank you. Excellent. Because we do know that when the body is very relaxed like that, then our consciousness opens up, and that is a
Yeah.
memory that we are so clear on. So thank you. That's a beautiful way to explore more
Yeah.
hypnotherapy, hypnosis regression sessions.
Yeah.
So I love that here you are, you're working with the Zetas and the Zetas. And the Earth challenges right now, what do they have to say about what is happening on our planet? Climate change, technology, AI, governments.
Yeah.
Get
Yes.
it
Yes.
underway. What do they say about this?
It's basically a huge test that humanity is being put through as to whether they're ready to evolve to the next level or they're not. My understanding is, and what my teacher Mara said, there's a version of Earth for everyone. So, and my feeling that a lot of the evolution stuff happens as you reincarnate. So what's being presented on Earth now is a lot of challenges and a lot of testing. The main test is between love and fear, choosing between love, and when I say love, I mean unconditional love, compassion, kindness, treating people with respect and accepting all members of every race as equals. None of this white supremacist thing that they carry on with. That's been a huge downfall on this planet, and we're being tested with that big time at the moment.
It's
through
amazing.
particularly through politics.
It feels like we're going backwards. And so
Yeah,
that's why I asked that
yes.
question. So would you say that that is because it is that choice point where humans watching that, we get to decide, you know what, that's not us, that's not who we are. I think that is a pressure cooker for many, don't you?
Huge, huge, huge. Yes, because whereas love's compassion, kindness, etc., fear goes back to the old herd instinct of our animal past. If anyone looks different, they're evil, or they're immigrants coming in. Oh, they're going to take everything away from us. It's fear, fear, fear. That's what we're being tested, and we have to be able to have this test. Both choices have to be presented to us. So this is why there's a whole lot of negative, horrible stuff going on that people can either tune into, oh, yes, I agree with that, or, oh, that's horrible, no, I don't agree with that. And that's what's going on.
Okay, good. I really hope it's a small, ugly minority acting
Yes,
badly. I
yes.
really feel that. And seeing how that sort of behavior, because it is so ugly, no decency, how it will actually, again, give us that choice point. So, do the Zetas give us, do they give you any views of the future?
They
Or do they
tend
give you,
Yeah, they tend not to, because
do they
they,
want you to
as
make
they
the
say,
choice?
there's multiple timelines, and
Okay.
we create our reality through our thought patterns and the way we think and behave. So therefore, the future's changing all the time. They are like, they can say, look, potentially at the moment we're thinking of making ourselves known, within the next few years. But as they say, look, that could change. So yeah, they won't really give any
Okay.
future stuff.
They won't give any future stuff, but we can sense that, wow, okay, there is the opportunity for more and more people to become aware of them.
Yes.
And wow, okay, okay. I want to ask you, when you look up in besides the your family, star family, meeting you in your room when you were 15 years old, have you had other encounters? Have you seen things in the sky? Or is it really just this your guide Morris and what he has given you in
Yeah, okay. I'll just straighten this up first. I had an encounter at 15 where I was paralyzed, but the big one was at age 30.
30?
So yeah. But oh yes, I
That was
have.
the daytime. That was the
That
daytime. Okay.
I yes,
The
yes.
daytime. Okay.
At the daytime one, yeah. Um, yes, I actually have a number of memories of being up on the ship as a grey. One of the
Tell us
ones
about
that
that. Tell us about that.
yes,
So,
yes, I've
do you,
spoken about this in a few interviews. It was really, really interesting. What it really made me understand is that when I'm up there as a grey, I'm absolutely no different from how I am down here. I'm exactly the same person. So people down here who know me as Judy Carroll also know me as the grey, and my name is Lorca up there. Um, there was a fellow was brought up on our ship, and he was in the clinic where we do all the procedures. And I walked in, and he turned his head. He was partly paralyzed, but he could move his eyes. He sort of looked to the side and saw me come in. And the look of sheer horror on his face almost made me step backwards because he'd been brought up on a number of occasions. But unfortunately, like a lot of people who were having genuine contacts, he was also having non genuine, frightening contacts. And so the poor fellow was completely confused. So when he saw me, the horror. So anyway, the ones who were helping me put their hands on his head to knock him out, because we didn't want him to start screaming or anything. And what we had to do, there were three of us working together, and we had to take an implant out of his head that had been put in by the negative group down here that was starting to give him negative experiences. So I was the one who had to do it. I don't know why. The other two were just standing by and holding him because working inside his brain, we couldn't allow him to move. So they were holding his head very firmly. And I can remember my long, thin grey fingers going down in through the top of his head and feeling around inside, trying to undo this implant that had been put in there. And I was having a little bit of trouble doing it for some reason. So, I was fiddling around in there for a while. And as you do when you're doing something like that, my mind was sort of wandering a bit. And I was thinking to myself, gee, if I ever see you down on Earth, I'm going to recognize you, because he had a very distinct face. He had like a moustache and beard going around in a circle. And so while I was fiddling around inside his head, I was looking at his face and thinking, oh, I recognise you. I'd like to see you down there. Anyway, I finally got this darn thing unplugged. And then I came back down here. And funnily enough, not that long after, I actually saw a photo of the man.
Wow. Did he
Yeah.
recognize you?
No, it was just a photo I saw.
Oh, it was a photo you saw.
It
You
was
read
a photo. Yeah.
and you were like, that's him.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's him.
Um, what are the ships like? Are they so okay, there are when we see things in the sky like orbs, like plasma balls, is
Yeah.
this more of what their ships are like? Can you describe the ships?
Oh, yes. Look, they can appear like that. It depends on what dimension that they're operating on. I mean, what we forget down here, there's multi dimensions all around us. Everything's right here, right now. So, yes, a ship can certainly appear as an orb, but so can a person. So it might be a dead relative is floating around as an orb, or it might be an ET or a nature spirit. But the ships can as well, because yes, they're sentient consciousness as well.
Wow. Can you describe the dimensions? So when we go up to the higher dimensions, is it faster frequency?
Yeah,
Opposed to, so the first dimension, right, like a rock would be, or a crystal would
yeah.
be that density. Okay. So then as we want to become more multidimensional, what would you say that we have to do? When we say
Well,
raise our
we are
vibration,
already we are
we already
already
are.
multidimensional.
We're
Yeah.
already multidimensional. So how
Yes.
do we, wow. Okay. How do we make that conscious awareness of it?
By
Like,
opening up to more than 10% of our conscious awareness. So as we evolve up the human ladder, we become more and more aware of our multidimensional selves. So it's just a matter of awakening our consciousness. And this is what the controllers down here are trying to stop, because they don't want us to know that we're multidimensional beings and that we have God essence within us, because that's going to
huh.
empower us.
Okay, well then this is an exciting time then. This is an exciting time. And the work that you do with these books really help people expand their consciousness. I mean, it could almost be a shock to some people.
Yeah.
Others would like thrive with these books and the information and be like, I knew it. And then
Yeah.
that is an indication, as you've said, that that is something that is a part of them, that interest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes. That's
So,
actually why my first book, Human by Day, Zeta by Night, I wrote it as a fictional story, but it's absolutely based on fact, because I thought it'll be more, how can I say, appealing to a wider readership of people who aren't necessarily quite ready for it, but it's still giving them plenty of information. There's heaps of information, and I just reread it the other day, and I thought, wow. And I was, even when I was reading it, I wasn't quite aware of how much information was coming through.
wow. So, what is the biggest message right now for our planet?
Again, choose love over fear. It just keeps coming
Simple.
back to that.
It's just
Simple.
simple as that.
Yeah.
It,
Move past all the xenophobia, all the racism, and accept everyone as one.
when we go to bed tonight, those who are interested, what can we do to prepare or make this invocation or make an intention to connect?
And just be aware of it consciously. By opening your consciousness up to it, it enables it to happen. It's just the same as with reincarnation. When we're closed to it and don't believe in it, then we just keep getting pulled back and pulled back and pulled back down here. To be able to evolve higher, we have to accept reincarnation and understand it. And also the acceptance of reincarnation is a huge help towards oneness, because when we can remember having lived lives as as a Christian person, as a Catholic, as an Islamic person, as a Mormon, as an atheist, as an Australian and an English person and an American and a Chinese and an African, if we can remember lives where we've experienced all those different things, then it breaks down the barriers. We don't feel so threatened by the differences in other people.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. And this is the self-work that we do with the hypnosis, the regression sessions that help us become aware
Yes.
of that. And
Yes.
actually, I have always had that dream to assist high school kids when they graduate. Somehow, if I had all the money in the world, I would create a scholarship to get them overseas to another country, because that
Yes.
right there opens that up as well. We're not just in
Exactly.
our little fishbowl of a country. We need to go explore the world and see
Yes.
how different people live. And that actually helps us remember those experiences as well.
Exactly. That's what oneness is all about.
Oneness, oneness.
Yeah. It's got to be
Okay.
on a global level, not just me, my country. It's got to be global. Absolutely global.
And I have another question for you. This is all about it eluded me in the moment. It's about the dimensions and gosh, let me see if I can remember it. No.
Isn't that
Oh my
annoying when
goodness.
that happens?
Yes, no, no, no. It's just so amazing. So, um, yeah, wow. Oh, here it is. I found it. Okay. You had mentioned in the beginning that the earth, the earth is controlled for so long to keep us from raising in consciousness. And do you date this back to the last shift of the ages, like when Lemuria fell or when Atlantis fell? And some say that the Lemurians took in the laggards, maybe from Mintaka or Maldek. We took in the laggards who were not going to make the last dimensional shift. Do you have any wisdom or information on dimensional shifts and how we're going through that right now?
Yeah.
But did we miss the last one? Any information on that?
Well, this is really complex. I actually talk about that in my book called Extraterrestrial Presence on Earth, Lessons in History. It all started back in the time of the dinosaurs when a group off planet, I think they might have been draconians, came here and created an Earth human race from the dinosaur species. What people forget is that the dinosaurs were around on Earth for 165 million years compared to Earth humans who've been here for about 100,000 or something, if that much. So they had heaps of time to develop a very highly technical human race. Some of them continued to evolve and have gone off planet, and others dropped down the ladder along with the Anunnaki, who were a race that was created out of the Reptera. I call them Repterans as opposed to reptilians because they were developed on planet Earth, Terra, Terra. The reptilians, off-planet reptilians are fine. They're very highly evolved, very protective people. But the Repterans, the group down here, are the ones who basically, they played the role of the God of the Old Testament, and they created present-day Earth plane humanity as a slave race. So that's why they held us back in this position for so many millennia. They're the ones basically behind all the religion and politics down here.
So when we speak of Draco and the draconian systems, this is what we're speaking of, right?
Well, the
That's
Dracos were the ones who actually came here. The Dracos are okay, but some of them got trapped down here because they got caught up in physicality. They talk about the fallen angels. I think that's where that story comes from. And the Repterans were a race that they developed out of the dinosaurs. So the Repterans are a reptilian human race. and they're the ones who are the controllers of the planet. And in fact, they hijacked the planet. In 2011, we had a meeting up on one of the ships,
Wow.
and that was what that was about. What can we do to get the planet out of the hands of these hijackers? And at that point, I'd had my first two books published. They came out in about 2010 or something, and somebody suggested, "Why don't you write another book?" I was trying to, I didn't want to write another book because I just finished two, and I was sort of hiding behind a group of tall Pleiadian people. And one of them, just as a joke, pushed me forward and said, "Why don't you write another book? You could write it about that. I will give you a hand." So that's how I ended up writing that book.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, okay, how close are we? So reptilians, and I hear that, so we, as a human on this planet, do we all have that reptilian DNA? I know there's hybrids. This gets us into hybrids and other extraterrestrial DNA within us.
Yes,
Do
yes.
we have a little bit of the reptilian DNA? Because so that if we heal that within ourselves, does that help them?
Oh,
And the,
yes. Yeah, we actually have a reptilian part of the brain. Science even talks about that.
Mhm.
But yes, we would carry some of their DNA, and not all of them are negative. The bloodline runs through the royal families.
Oh,
So they always have that sense of entitlement, but at the same time, some of them are very caring towards the planet. So, you can't say, oh, all reptilians are negative, but
okay.
there's just that group, they took over the planet and they want to control it and keep us under control.
All right, so it's so exciting. So it's so exciting. All right, so my last question for you then, Judy, would be, now that we know this, that this is here, that the systems that are here now on awakening humanity as we activate our DNA, how do we activate our DNA to, is it with an intention or is simply being love? Is that
Yes,
what activates the DNA?
yes, yes. Choosing love over fear activates it. A lot of times when we're taken up on the ships, there's also repairs of the DNA being done.
Wow.
So people who are undergoing genuine ET contact are having repair done. And yes, just choosing love over fear. That's basically what does it. What another thing, very practical thing that my co-host Paula Jane and I talk about on our podcast. It's also important to have a spiritual practice of some sort, like meditation, Tai Chi, yoga, Reiki, whatever, because that works on our chakra system, helps to raise the vibrational frequency of our energy body. So that's a pretty important thing as well.
Yes, and I just love how you were told to meditate, then you then you were told Tai Chi and Reiki. And I can't tell you how many beings on this planet are awakened and their gifts come online through Reiki.
Yes, it's just amazing. It's pure non-polarized energy. So, you can't do any harm with it. It's just beautiful.
Oh,
I
wow.
love it. Yeah, I've been doing it. I've been teaching for many years. I've sort of backed off a little bit now because I've got other stuff I'm trying to do. But yeah, I was teaching Reiki for many years and I'm still teaching Tai Chi. I teach Tai Chi at the Senior Citizen Centre. And we have so many people sent to us by their doctors. It's just lovely.
That's great. That really is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
All right. And so my final question is, what are some of the things that you're working on now? What is the latest and the most important things going on in your life?
Okay, at the moment I'm working on a book. It's not strictly a children's book, it's a book for young people, 13 plus. So I'm sort of, my publicist and I are looking for a publisher to put that out because my poor publishers are trying to retire. We might end up falling back on them. So I'm working on that. I'm doing a little bit of a recap on the Extraterrestrial Presence on Earth book. I'm just cutting some of that out and just putting in a few new things, refining that. Teaching Tai Chi, which I absolutely love doing, and I also take a gentle exercise class, which is like sitting yoga. Um, So yeah, I'm keeping pretty busy with all that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your courage to bring forward this information because you were pushed by your guides. You were prodded by
Oh,
your guide.
yes. Yes. When they told me back there, 30, at age 30, that I was going to be teaching these things, it was, oh my God, how can't I know anything about it? But I was put through so many years of training in Tai Chi and Chinese medical philosophy, Reiki. I've had so much training in it over so many years. So now, yes, I am teaching it just like they told me I would be.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you, Judy Carroll. What an amazing time. I want to just give you a moment for final thoughts.
Okay, final thoughts. I've got something written down here that I was told a long time ago. I'm just trying to find where it is. Um, Main things that we need to know is that reincarnation is a fact. Also, human life is genetically engineered from many, many different types of animals. And the third thing is we create our reality through the way we think. So keeping our thoughts positive as opposed to negative is super, super important. And I was actually given a teaching on that by Mars many years ago.
Thank you for that. And that is the off-world information that's coming on this world. And I would say it's been part of our planet through many other speakers and teachers as well. And so when are we going to really behold that and listen? You're doing a remarkable job helping people to do that. And the Great Awakening is on. So honor to you and your guides. And
Thank you, Lauren.
yes, and everyone, thank you for listening to this conversation and reaching into your star heritage and your ET lineage. Thank you, Judy. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.